Hi, I'm Frtc, creator of 6 mental game programs for golfers sold worldwide, and I'm also the author of 52 Ways to Lower Your Golf Score Without Practice. Welcome to video number 2 of From Range to Course. This is a video training series on how to bring your best practice game over to the course and have it hold up under pressure. Now, thank you all for all of your comments on that first video and your excitement, and I'd love to hear more down below this video when we're done here, what you think. So in video 1, I told you all about how the yips, performance anxiety, choking under pressure, and not being able to bring your practice game to the course cannot be fixed by working on your swing or your putting stroke. Even Tiger Woods' swing instructor couldn't fix the problem that way. I then went on to tell you about the structure of your mind and how this problem originates with the unconscious or subconscious mind, and it's just doing its job of trying to keep your body alive. We then learned that these issues come from one word: stress. You might have been surprised to learn next that stress, on and off the course, is a choice, and that you have the ability to control your mind so that stress disappears right along with this problem. And finally, you learned in the last video my most powerful technique. It's an and world. I can feel this nervousness and sink this putt. I'm scared to death of this tight fairway and trusting my body to send the ball right down the center. Now in the second video, I'm going to teach you the 4 steps to be able to change your unconscious programs so that the nerves, the tension, and the fear do not come up and interfere with your swing or putting stroke in the first place. Once you step out there on the course and around where you care about your score, that is. Because here's the deal. If you're going to make this change and start being able to play as well as you do in practice on the course, this change has to happen at the unconscious level of the mind. Like I said, some people call it the subconscious mind. We're talking about the same thing. I just don't like the prefix sub because it tends to mean lesser or lower than, when in fact, it's the greater part of our mental capacity. Anyway, this is the power, folks. This is the pot of gold for your golf game. Pay attention here. Because once I learned how to make this kind of permanent change for myself, it became so easy to integrate any learnings or knowledge into my body and have it show up effortlessly at the course, even under pressure. I could give you a simpler solution to the problem of doing great in practice but not on the course. It's simply to pretend that when you're out on the course, there's nothing at stake. Now, if you could truly do this, then you will swing the same as you do on the range. But we know the brain isn't fooled so easily. It knows what's going on, and even the best pros on the planet can't do that. But what winners do is to manage the response that comes from that. And when you do that well, then your golf problems are over. They're done. When your mental problems are done, oh my gosh, it's like pure magic, I tell you. It was absolutely amazing for me how much respect I started getting from people once I played a round of golf with them and they saw how well I started playing. Now here's the real cool thing. The confidence that you gain from taking charge of your mind, it spills over into every area of your life, business, relationships. I was totally floored at how just simply reducing my scores in this fun game of golf, it totally changed my life, and all this time I didn't feel like I was changing anything. It actually was really odd, like I was talking about someone else at times, saying I was shooting in his 70s. I was still the same guy with the same personality and the same swing. Maybe I started to swing a little smoother and freer or putt a little better, I don't know. But I would love for you to experience this with me and all my clients who've made these breakthroughs. See, after doing this work and writing to golfers for years, like any career, you start to see patterns emerge, right? That's what success is all about. And I know you've noticed this in your own life or your career. You just can't help but pick up these things as you go and do something over and over and over. And now, after directly communicating with well over 1,000 unconscious minds, I've been shown clearly what it wants in order to allow its golfer to be released from this type of problem. Fear, anxiety, worry, doubt, negative thoughts. So at this point, you might be asking yourself, well, Craig, this is all fine and dandy for you and your clients, but how do I know this stuff will help me? I've got a drawer full of books, golf programs, online programs, DVDs, and I've taken all kinds of lessons, and still I can't bring my range game to the course. You know, the answer to that concern is don't take my word for it. Make me convince you with logic and reasoning. I can't fix you, but you have the power to fix you. Now, if you have questions about anything I present, the logic, comment below here and I'll answer it. I want to keep you moving forward because the logic behind everything I'm teaching you has been tried, tested, and true more often than I care to even keep track of. And I say all this here because doubt is your biggest enemy here, not your swing or anything about your body or your clubs. Let me answer your questions and then just go with it and you will get results. If you can't find a reason it won't work, then it has to work because we're working with our mind. So let's start out by crushing the wall between you and your scoring goals. Lesson 1, you can change anything you want about yourself. Start creating this belief by busting the biggest myth that holds you back. It's that old saying that it takes 21 days to create a new habit. That's complete bunk. A new habit can take longer and a new habit can take hold overnight. But it's this myth that keeps you in the prison of everything requiring a certain amount of repetitions in order to change or to improve something about your mind or your performance. You see, in that belief prison, I understand it's very easy to get discouraged. People don't stick to things because they think it's too hard or they give up when they hit 21 days or so many repetitions and nothing happens, nothing changes. So here's an example. My father smoked cigarettes for 30 years. He developed plenty of smoking habits, right? One day he has a heart attack and he barely survives in intensive care, hooked up to all kinds of machines. He comes out of the hospital a few days later and boom, he's done smoking and all the habits are gone. Many people give up 20-year plus smoking habits without ever having a heart attack, just because they decided to do it. Now, golfers are even more able to make habit changes. They change putters, they change techniques, strategies, even habitual pre-shot routines on a whim all the time. And this is a good thing. Hold and keep the idea that change for you comes easily, because you're going to need it going forward with me here. The belief in easy change is fundamental. That's what's going to get you through. This is what it takes to win here. You've got to believe right at the start that you have the ability to change anything that you want about yourself, your game, anything. You are not an old dog that can't learn new tricks. No! And this is a conscious decision to make right here, right now. And it's essential to at least fake and pretend that belief for now. Did you know that you could fake and pretend beliefs and my processes still work? Isn't that great? In fact, I tell my clients all the time, you could think I'm the biggest fool in the world and use my methods and you'll get your outcome here anyway. Now, if you have a belief in what I offer you, well, then the process and techniques work 5 times as fast. So I guess it's up to you whether you want it to work fast or slow or not at all. I have no magic powers. You do. You can change anything. Now, on the other hand, if you've ever said out loud something like, well, that's just the way I am, you're toast. Game over. And you might as well resolve yourself to living with your problems, golf or otherwise, for your whole life, and I really can't help you. Now, that's not you, is it? You're here, interested in the mental game. Come on, I know that you can make any change you want. Just fake and pretend all that for now. All right, let's move on now that we own that. Lesson 2. You've got to make the connection to your unconscious mind one way or another in order to make long-term change. Repetitions of affirmations are fine and dandy, and they can do the job making unconscious change, but it's like using a simple hammer to try to bust through a concrete slab. It takes forever and a lot of force exerted on that hammer. You see now why the myth of the 21 days needed to be let go of. Because when you do this work at the unconscious level, it's like you've been given a hydraulic jackhammer to totally break up that concrete. It happens fast and easy. And the way you start to do this is my #1 secret. Are you ready? You connect to your unconscious mind by simply having the intention to do so. I know, it sounds simple, right? I'm going to talk more about that in upcoming videos, but that's what I've told over 1,000 clients, and that's what I'm telling you just the same. Just keep telling yourself that from now on. You are doing this work on your golf game at the unconscious level. And hold that intention as you learn anything from me, or anyone else for that matter. When you hold this intention throughout anything that you do or learn, that's when integration occurs. Now, without integration, you just have head knowledge, and your body's going to continue doing exactly what it's always done from the control of the unconscious mind. Lesson 3. Focus can overcome any problems in your golf game. If you focus on the right thing, it'll distract you off the wrong thing. You first need some new perspectives to focus on that will reprogram your unconscious mind once we're connected. All right? And this will replace the faulty ones that are creating the stress, which triggers the unconscious to hurt your golf game. And I'd like to give you a couple right here, right now. Now, here's my most effective technique for doing that I'm going to give you for free, that I've charged my office clients $200 for in a session where that's all we cover. So here's the deal. You're probably currently playing a bad focus game right now. And that's one of the causes of this problem. And it goes something like this. Play well, feel and think good. Play bad, feel and think bad. Score low, feel good. Score high, feel bad. Now, that's a conscious and an unconscious focus you've got going there, and it flows through everything you do with regards to golf. Now let me ask you this. Do you play better when you think and feel bad? Or do you play better when you think and feel good? And which is closer to stress? Feel good or feel bad? I know this is simplistic, but it's really powerful if you get the message. Remember that stress is what's causing this problem in the first place, and what we need to reduce or eliminate. Well, here's the good news. You don't need to play that game anymore where you only feel good after you play well. No, you can feel good before playing well and thus have no stress, and then your unconscious stops interfering with your practice and natural skills. What if you changed your focus when you're on the course to something like, I totally and completely play this game for the love of the game itself? What if your scores were truly a byproduct or a secondary concern for why you are out there? That's the game over here I want you to play. You're always going to feel good. Now let me explain what I mean. So here's what I love about the game. I love the atmosphere and the energy surrounding a clubhouse. I love seeing golfers engrossed in their favorite thing to do for fun. I love the smell of hot dogs cooking and coming over from the snack shack. I love the excitement of the first tee jitters. I love looking at well-manicured fairways. I actually enjoy repairing ball marks on greens. I'm really in love with the sound the ball makes as it dances around the bottom of the cup after sinking the putt. And I'm going to get 18 of those every single round. I'm absolutely fascinated with watching a long drive soaring through the air. Arnold Palmer used to say it's the prettiest piece of artwork he's ever seen. I absolutely love the feel of a ball struck right on this sweet spot where you can barely feel the contact because it's so pure. You've had that. That's why I play this game. And I know I'm going to have a few of those every single round. I'm completely enamored with myself when I make a great recovery shot. You know, like out of bounds, coming out of bounds, or in a bad spot in the sand trap, or out of a hazard. And I'll certainly get that opportunity at least a time or two in a round. I also love just being outdoors and hearing birds and running water and seeing fish in the lakes and maybe finding a golf ball on the hazard, little treasures as I walk to my ball. There's so much to love about this game that has nothing to do with scoring. And that's why you should play the game. Are you getting the picture here yet? What if you played the game for all those things that you love and you totally focused on that in an entire round? What if you made a list of all the things like I just went over and you reviewed it before and maybe during your round, and you kept yourself focused on those things as you go through your whole round during your pre-shot routine, anything to occupy that conscious mind? This alone could solve your problem and has for many of my students. Now I challenge you to go out and play an entire round dedicated to using this technique and tell me in the comments below what happened for you. Now if it doesn't happen for you, then you've got some more work to do. Your nerves, tension, your stress ultimately might be an intertwined set of beliefs and programs that need to be unwound one by one until you get to the core where it all begins. Now, by the way, what would the rest of your life be like if you could reduce your stress levels by 50%? What about 70%? Think you might enjoy life more? I already know that you could finally bring your practice game to the course, but I wonder if you wouldn't get 100% more enjoyment out of everything if you weren't playing in so much frustration all the time. You know, many people that I run into, they're in complete denial of their stress levels. I used to be too. They learned how to turn their sensors off and they automatically, unconsciously go to their destructive coping mechanisms like overeating, drinking, smoking, or blowing up with anger. I encourage you to check in with yourself about this for a moment. I know a lot about stress from my days as a corporate manager. The squeeze between the customers, my employees, my bosses. I was in a constant state of fear of making what they called a CLM or CEM, career ending move or career limiting move. For years I worked that way. Now the fourth lesson in this video here is that you need to make your range and putting practice as much as possible like how you play on the course, for real. Start off by taking note of how you think while on the range and compare it to how you think on the course. Now, it's standard advice to practice like you play, but this is non-standard advice how to do it. So for starters, do you do your pre-shot routine on the range exactly like you do on the course, at least in your warm-ups before a round? How is your posture? Your stance? How's your breathing any different between course and range? You know, there's a lot of things going on with you these days, physically, mentally, and emotionally, even if you're totally retired and enjoying life. And you know, maybe that last technique isn't all that much for you. Fine. But if you were to work with me in person over the course of a few sessions, from my experience of working with this issue, we could get right to the core of it and devise the perfect solution that works just for you. But I'm not cheap. That's going to be about $800 to $1,000 for those sessions, not including the cost of flying to Seattle to see me. Now, if you're smart, you'll pick up the thing that works for you out of all this and you'll run with it. And you'll save yourself a lot of frustration and money. I've got more coming your way. In the next mental game training videos, we're going to go even deeper into connecting with your unconscious mind, because that's where you will find consistency from range to course and from hole to hole. I'm Craig Sigel, and your swing is good enough to go low.